crowding at the Ren Fair has gotten a little insane in recent years. On one hand, I'm really excited that people are embracing the whimsy and having fun and joining in on this experience. But on the other hand, I would love to be able to experience more of the Ren Fair in one day. Hi, I'm Hannah. Thank you so much for coming to my channel where I talk all things costuming, cosplay, and events. Today we are talking about the Ohio Renaissance Festival in 2025. So because life was insane for me and work was insane for me these last couple months, I was not able to go to the Ohio Renaissance Festival until the last weekend, which I'm happy I was able to go at all, to be honest. I didn't think I was going to be able to go at all. I was able to make it for Heroes and Villains weekend. It's a big draw for the community because I think kids, I don't remember if it's under a certain age or what, but kids are able to get in free and there's trick-or-treating. And there are also discounts on tickets for first responders. Even with the ticket capping this year, they did hold some back at the gate so that first responders were able to come to the gate, show their identification, and get that discount, which I think was amazing. For the regular adult tickets for the day, we got the dated tickets for October 25th, including taxes and fees and all of that. I spent about $85, which is not cheap. But I do love the Ohio Renaissance Festival, and on most days, it is definitely worth it. I'll also note that in the last few years, they have had parking included in those fees instead of taking cash payments for parking as you come in. We were prepared for it to be very cold, but fortunately, maybe due to the amount of people there, or maybe we just got lucky, we were fine. Like, we were able to leave our cloaks in the car. Thankfully, we were not freezing. So right when we got off the highway, I was like, oh boy, here we go. We had to run some errands in the morning, so we were delayed leaving for the Ren Fair a little bit from what I had planned. Whatever, life happens. So we were driving down there. We get off the highway. We spent an hour on the road moving the 2 miles to get to the entrance of the Ren Fair. We were at the very back of parking, and actually on our way out, I did see they were into overflow parking, and I've never seen overflow parking. So I guess that was par for the course because it ended up being a sold out day. And on that 2 mile stretch from the highway to the Ren Fair, I was not able to get any cell service. So I was like, I don't know what's happening. I don't know if there's an accident. I was like, I don't know. We're just sitting here listening to music for an hour. We got inside eventually. You could just feel how crowded it was. Like, there were long lines everywhere for restroom, food, drink, all of that. It was almost impossible for us to move around in stores. But I did end up going into one of my favorite stores and buying a pair of earrings. My husband waited outside though because it's like we both can't fit in here. And actually my favorite store also opened up a new like dark location and another spot of the fair, and we did make our way over there and were able to get in. I was not able to explore the entire store because I think we would have gotten trapped inside, and I'm not even kidding. It was beautiful in there and I'd love to visit it again though. I will also say it was just a very overwhelming experience. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it was difficult. I don't even know how to say it. I think I felt like maybe claustrophobic, I guess is the way to say it. There was just a lot happening. I've never felt so much like sensory overload before. But I will say, because it's so close to Halloween and there was that trick-or-treating aspect, so there were so many good costumes and a lot of costumes that were more focused on Halloween rather than specifically just the Ren Fair. So there were a lot of really interesting looks, and I'm not complaining about that, by the way. Like, I do really enjoy that there was a variety of looks. We ended up taking some time to just sit on a bench near the front and just watch people in their costumes walk by. And for us, people who love costumes and making things, it was really fun to see all of that. I did some investigating on this trip. I have heard rumors that water fountains exist at the Ohio Renaissance Festival, and I've never seen them. I have known for a while that if you go, I think it's at the front, you say, I'm a designated driver, they'll give you a wristband and vendors will give you like free bottled water all day. That's great. However, I was like, I would love to be able to fill up a water bottle. That would be ideal. Through the Facebook pages and such, people are like, yep, there's one at First Aid in the front and one in First Aid at the back in the Whimsy Woods. And I was like, today, this is the day. I'm going to be brave and I'm going to ask somebody where the freaking water fountain is. So both in the front and in the back in Whimsy Woods, I went up to the First Aid area and asked, hey, do you all have a water fountain back here? Both locations, they said no. But they both had huge containers with ice filled with bottled water that you could just take. Now, I hope people don't like abuse that and all, but like, And I understand why it's not widely advertised, but like you're telling me for all of these years and all the money I've spent on bottled water, I could have just gotten some free cold bottled water at first aid. Running around in the park a little bit. The Whimsy Woods expansion that happened a couple years back continues to be my favorite part of the fair, specifically because there is just so much more room. Like it just feels so much more open, and I never feel as claustrophobic back there personally. I think they're using the space much better. Like every year they move more things out there, and I think it gets better and better. I'm hoping it doesn't become super crowded like the rest of the park. I keep seeing more things over there. There's more like sword fighting stuff. They moved Wheel of Death over into there, and honestly, it was a really nice setup seeing that show in there. Even saw Her Majesty the Queen in the Whimsy Woods speaking to vendors. So I'm excited to see what else comes to that area back there. I don't know. I just think it's a very charming location. Also in the Whimsy Woods, I saw this little setup from Kosai I thought was a little weird. It's like taking away from the whimsy, if you will. It was this like setup for you could try on a VR headset, which again is just very weird to me to at the Ren Fair, but it seems to be this growing partnership between Kosai and the Ohio Renaissance Festival. If you are not from this area, Kosai is the center of science and industry. It is like a science museum. They also do 21 and up after dark events every year, and one of those after dark events is Renaissance Fair themed, and they bring in folks from the Ohio Renaissance Festival for that. I did go to that event last year, so I will link that video in below if you are interested in that. But anyway, this is the first time I've seen Kosai at the Renaissance Festival, which, I mean, I love a good local partnership, right? We also passed this maze. I don't remember seeing it in previous years, so it might be new. If I'm wrong, I'm sure someone will correct me in the comments below. But I just thought the finishing work on it was beautiful. I was like, how have I never noticed this before? So maybe it is new, but I don't know. I just thought it was beautiful. Because of our delays in leaving for the Ren Fair and then our hour-long wait on the road getting to the Ren Fair, and the fact that I had to work that evening, we were only able to be at the fair for a couple hours. I'm very sad we couldn't spend more time there, but it was probably for the best because it was so crowded. We weren't able to do much. And I'm not saying that I like wasted my money on the day or anything. I loved being there. I just love being there. I love seeing the creativity. It's just kind of a fact that when it gets really, really full and crowded like that, it becomes a little bit more difficult to enjoy. And I'm going to take a moment to talk about my outfit because I do really enjoy this outfit. I saw this person's post on TikTok where they had a similar look. I'll link that TikTok account in the comments below. But I kind of put my own twist on it. I was like, I'm going to be a sewing fairy. So I made my own giant thread spool, giant buttons, and giant pins. I actually had these giant scissors that I bought on clearance at Spirit Halloween last year. I have another video on that. I'll probably link below as well. But I had all of these things to put together, and I was planning on it being cold, and I was planning on wearing a cloak, so I didn't bring my fairy wings with me, which was a poor decision on my part because, as I mentioned earlier, it was actually temperature-wise fine, and I probably could have gotten away with the wings. But I did put on my big flower earrings I bought at the Hocking Hills Medieval Fair, and I thought that was a nice touch too. The corset was thrifted, and the dress I bought at Target like maybe 3 years ago, maybe a little bit more. And I had a white skirt that I was using as a petticoat underneath, and that was thrifted as well. And the mushroom-esque hat, I got it at Maker's Market a couple years back too. Honestly, the outfit was really comfortable. I'm really happy with how it turned out, but this is definitely not my last time wearing this outfit. It's also kind of inspired by the Ghibli movie, The Secret of Ariadne, and also kind of the borrowers, just that being tiny and having all these objects be so big around you. And I have a thought or two on how to add more whimsy, so stay tuned. But I will probably also do a video on how I made my giant spool and buttons and pins, so be on the lookout for that as well. As I mentioned before, I love the Ohio Renaissance Festival, and I wish I could have experienced more of it this season, but life got in the way so much this year. My biggest tip for a better Ren Fair experience is to go earlier in the season. While it is a lot hotter, it's generally significantly less crowded. I know I've been to opening weekend before, and that is usually completely open. like it doesn't sell out and such. So if you are looking for a less overwhelming event, I'd say go earlier in the season. But I'd also recommend some of the other events that take place at Renaissance Park, such as the Yuletide Village, which is going to open up here at the end of November. The full fair is not open during those smaller events, but you still get a good portion of what is available, and you don't have to deal with as much crowd level. I am hoping to make it back to the Yuletide Village this year. I've been one other time a few years back, and it was really fun, mainly because you can meet Krampus. So I hopefully can go again this year. We'll see. If you do plan on attending a day that is sold out, I'd either recommend getting to the festival very early, like before it opens, so you can park and be ready and just walk in when it opens. Or I would say come later in the afternoon. I think usually around 2 to 3, things start thinning out a little bit. So just like Disney World, kind of avoid that noon, those few hours surrounding noon where it gets the busiest. That brings me to the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. And let me know your favorite Ren Fair hack in the comments. Also, please like, subscribe, or share the video with a friend. It really, really does help this channel, and I appreciate you. Also, a reminder that you can find me on Instagram and TikTok at _Hannah_dreaming. Thanks again, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.